Awesome. All good. That's what I love to hear. Um, Great. Well, hey, thanks again for joining me today. I'm Alex Van Leeuwen, and I'm super excited that you're here with me today, either live on the call or maybe you're listening to the replay after the fact. But really, it's an honor to get to spend time with you, and I just wanted to acknowledge you for spending your time, investing your time into something that can better your business, better your strategy, and therefore better your outcomes. Like you're taking time out of your day to do that, and I just wanted to acknowledge you. That's what I really love about doing these webinars is we're such a self-selected group of people that are really trying to take things to the next level and come up with new ideas and implement and really excel, and that's what really gets me excited. So thanks for being here. And today's session is really all about effective shoulder season marketing. So I am in Cincinnati, Ohio, and I'll tell you, it's so hard for me to believe. I went on a walk with my wife today, and it's like leaves are falling. We've got our windows open, our air is not running in Cincinnati. So, here it comes, right? So now is the time to prepare and get your strategy in place for exactly how to keep the phones ringing, keep your techs busy during this off season. So as I do with every one of these sessions, I like to just recap very briefly the 7 aspects of marketing that I see that are really successful clients and successful HVAC companies across the country really excel at and produce their results from a marketing standpoint. So of course, it starts with having a conversion-focused website, having a presence on Google search, so through SEO, pay-per-click efforts, local service ads, making sure that you have a strategy to generate repeat and referral business by staying present on social media, tapping into your customer database with text message and email, and really getting the maximum lifetime value out of your customers as you grow that list, and then review management, continuing to get 5-star reviews across platforms online and really develop a world-class reputation within your service area. I find that the companies that really hit all 7 of these points, like, just see astronomical growth. It's really a magical thing to see. So today actually is going to be a bit of a unique session because in most months we spend time together and dive really deep into one of these particular ideas, right? So we'll talk about SEO or we'll talk about review management, but today's going to be all about shoulder season marketing and how to focus really on the 20% of the activities that generate 80% of the results. So we have so much to cover today. I'm going to try to keep the pace up and know that you will have access to the recording and of course can reach out to me directly with questions. But we've got an action-packed course for today. So what I want to ask in return, I know I've spent a lot of time preparing and putting some really great ideas together for you. I just ask that you dial into this session, right? So turn off the cell phone, like you can be my witness. I'm putting mine away, log out of Facebook. And I just ask that you dial into this session because the more that you key in here, I can promise you will get proportionally that amount out of this session. So don't let this just be another session that you log into and it's okay if you're eating some lunch or doing something like that, but really stay I ask that you just stay focused in and we'll go from there. So for those of you that don't know me, as I said, my name is Alex Van Leeuwen, and I'm the founder of HVAC Marketers. And I've had the distinct privilege of working with some of the top HVAC companies across the country, literally from East Coast to Hawaii. Like, we've seen it all, and it's been really exciting. And I just want you to know that this is all that we do, right? As our name would suggest, HVAC marketers, all we focus in and day out is getting the phone to ring for HVAC companies. And if during this presentation you're thinking, maybe it would make sense to just have Alex and his team help me out with this, we're available to do that for you. And so there'll be a moment at the end here where I give you a link where you can schedule in and we can have a discussion specifically about your business and your service area. But I like getting this slide out of the way at the beginning because I want you to know this is not a sales presentation, right? This is designed to be to give you ideas that you can take and you really can implement on your own. But I find that some of the most effective HVAC companies do a good job of finding a great marketing partner that can implement these ideas for them, and we are available to you if that makes sense for you. So let's carry on. So before we get into this session, I like to kind of frame the problem that is in front of us. So I likely don't need to tell any of you that there's been some unusual market conditions this year, and add to that some strange weather as well in many parts of the country, like very mild summers. It's been frustrating at times to just scratch your head and go, what's going on here? And it's really my belief that this will only continue to compound as we get into shoulder season across the country. So, what are we seeing, right? So demand is lower. Buyers are more hesitant to actually opt for those higher dollar fixes and are more kicking the can down the road, resulting in lower average tickets. Ad costs have become extremely high, and it's just getting more and more expensive to market your business. All of these are challenges that we're facing, and for the data people that are with us today, myself included, I like to just put numbers behind this. So as a marketer, one way that I can measure demand is just by looking at how many people in the US are searching for our, relevant HVAC keywords. So in this case, air conditioning repair. This is a 5-year look at the demand or the volume of searches that we've seen here. And as we all know, coming out of COVID, it was like the phone's on fire, everyone's spending money, and it was really quite great. And we've seen that taper off, I think anecdotally, but it's in the data as well, where the demand for some of these services is not quite what it was before. Here's a look at furnace repair, more relevant even as we get into shoulder season. Just a similar trend with less overall searches. It's just something that's interesting that we want to keep an eye on. So what's the goal for today? To carry on from that idea of lower demand, less search volume, less interest, I'm going to challenge you all today to really focus on battening down the hatches, right? I'm gonna go out on a limb, and I'm gonna say that over the past 5 years in this industry, well, let's say, wow, time's flying by. Maybe the last 3-4 years, somewhere in that. I think many HVAC companies have been able to get away with relatively mediocre marketing, right? Like it just was a hot market, literally and figuratively, right? And we've seen that change. So I'm going to challenge you all to really batten down the hatches and focus on really making our marketing excellent and shoring up some of the gaps in our marketing strategy. And more specifically, as I alluded to before, I want to challenge you to, well, I'm going to reveal the 20% of activities when it comes to marketing HVAC companies that generates 80% of the results, right? And so by doing that, it really helps us focus our strategy. I mean, there's 1,000,001 different ways that you can market your business, but wouldn't it be great to just know the 20% of the activities that you can do that are going to generate 80% of the phone calls, the book jobs, the revenue? Like that's what I'm going to reveal to you today. So let me break it down really simply in terms of what the focus needs to be for this off season. So we need to focus on first getting new customers, and this is a challenging time to do that. And I'm gonna reveal to you some strategies on how to do that, specifically having a higher website conversion. And we're also going to take a look at how to take your local service ads from more of a 101 level to a 201 level, like really upping your game in terms of local service ads. Or if this is not a strategy that you're running, I'm going to need to have your address so I can come pound on your door and say, why are you not doing this in 2024? No, I'm teasing, but we're going to get you squared away on that. We're going to also talk about your online reputation and how to take that to the next level and how it can really help with improving your rankings online, improving your conversion, and really how it plays a part of your company culture. And then we're going to talk about how to get more value from your existing customers. And I will tell you right off the bat, this is the strategy right here that has been an absolute game changer for our clients and some of the top HVAC companies that I've seen across the country. So make sure to stick around for that there. This is absolutely the quickest quickest hit that you can do in terms of seeing results and getting jobs on the calendar. It's kind of a break in case of emergency strategy. So we'll reveal that. All right. So let's focus first on acquiring new customers. So I want to start off with a question. What is the one element that will have the biggest impact on the results of your overall internet marketing efforts? What a question. So if you know me and if you've talked to me, then you likely know the answer to this question. And that is going to be your website. So when it comes right down to it, I would say 95+% of your marketing efforts, be that online marketing, so pay-per-click, local service ads, SEO, whatever it is, or be that direct mail, door hangers, billboard, radio, print media, you name it. What are you ultimately doing with those strategies? Well, ultimately you're attempting to shuttle qualified homeowners to your website, and the website is where that conversion takes place. So let me pose it to you like this. If you have a website that is built that is not specifically designed to convert HVAC leads into callers into customers, you may only be converting 1 out of 100 people that visit your website, right? Not a very good conversion rate, 1% for the mathematicians in the room, right? Let's say you are able to put specific conversion elements in place where you can actually take that website from converting only 1 out of 100 visitors to, let's say, 5 out of 100, right? Pretty modest improvement. 5% out of 100, or 5 out of 100, 5%. Still not a massive number, what we would typically think, but in the world of conversion, that's a massive improvement. Now all of a sudden you 5x the efficacy of your marketing efforts. You're getting 4 extra leads out of every 100 that visit your website instead of just getting 1. You're getting 5. So here's just a brief example of kind of a before and after of a website, and you can see, quite frankly, it's not only that it's designed to look better, that's certainly a part of it. But it's all about having the right conversion elements in place and having them very thoughtfully placed on the website. Here's another example, just making it really easy to be able to have that customer that's seen your advertisement either on the first page of Google search or they've seen it on a billboard, they've ended up at your website, and now they're able to quickly solve their problem, right? I need a repair. I want to replace my equipment. I need to schedule an inspection. It's all right there and really easy to use. And there's many more examples. This is not a technical as much as it is like we look at conversion and websites basically on a rubric. And so what I'm going to share with you today, we have so much to cover. I want to plant this idea in your head about website conversion, and then what I want to do is let's see here. I want to share with you a checklist that you can download and you can use to audit your own website and say, hey, do I have a very clear call to action? Am I showing social proof within my, social proof on the website? BBB A+ accredited, carrier diamond dealer, whatever those trust symbols are. Thank you, Mimi. Yes, she's dropped the link into the chat, and you can click on that and feel free to download that checklist and really just audit your own website. If you'd like to take it the next step further, this is also a great opportunity to schedule a meeting with me personally, and we can walk through your website together and make sure that it is dialed in for conversion. Because the truth of the matter is, we have less at-bats when it comes to leads during the off season. And so having a website that can convert just a few percent better than your current website, that's how you really capitalize on getting new customers throughout the shoulder season. It's this whole idea of battening down the hatches, right? Shoring up the gap in the marketing strategy. We don't want to have any holes in the website where people can slip through and not call you, not fill out the form, not chat you via the website. So for the sake of time, I'm going to continue on through this. Just a few points, and you'll see this in the checklist. But on your website, be real and authentic, right? One of my favorite ideas is that people want to do business with people, right? They want to see your face. Use the owner, the head of marketing, or the whoever you are at your company. Like, your customers want to see your face. They want to see your trucks. They want to see you on job sites with customers. So don't feel like these pictures have to be overproduced. In fact, sometimes we find that, you'll see here, I think these are some great examples of more like selfie style pictures and less formal pictures that just do really well in terms of conversion, because people want to do business with people. In addition to that, leverage video and multimedia. So oftentimes for our clients, we will have video is the first thing that you see when you hit the website. And beyond that, having videos of the team. Video is a really great tool to keep people on your website. And the longer that they stay on the website and consume more of your website, the more likely they are to convert, which is really key. You want to showcase your social proof, as I said. So not only some of those trust badges and Better Business Bureau and maybe statuses that you have with your manufacturers, but your reviews as well. Like, if you have a few hundred reviews, a few thousand reviews, that's something that you absolutely need to be showcasing and picking specific reviews to highlight on your website. You want to use special offers, right? Give people a reason during the shoulder season to act now, right? Limited time offer, X% off, X dollars off. These are really effective conversion strategies. Excuse me. And then you want to make sure that it's mobile friendly, right? So just some stats here. I think we all know that this is true. So many people are on their phones, and that's really where we want to meet people at, right? So your mobile site is incredibly important. So make sure that you're going to your website on mobile, and that the phone number is visible, and it's really squared away from that standpoint. So with all that said, how can you get your website to convert? Like with these ideas that we're talking, leverage the checklist that Mimi has shared in the chat there, and make sure that your website's up to snuff. Because again, if you're investing in any kind of marketing, digital, traditional, what have you, then you will get a much better result from all of those marketing efforts and those marketing dollars by having a website built to convert. So that is that in terms of website conversion. Let's move along to Google Local Service Ads. So as I said, if you are listening to me now and not using local service ads, boy, I don't know what to tell you. But the good thing is, best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The next best time is today. So make sure that you are taking advantage of this program. I've done, an entire webinar on Google Local Service Ads. You can find it on the our website, hvacmarketers.com. If you would like to just kind of get a more in detail view of that, because you've not signed up yet, I would recommend you go to that immediately after today's session. But for those that are on it, I really want to take it to the next level. I want to share some ideas with you today. So number one is dialing in your profile. So the number one thing that I see from HVAC companies that come to me and say, hey, we're running local service ads, but we're just not getting any lead flow. Like, we used to get a lot of lead flow, now we don't. And we will look into a local service ads profile. And one of the first things that I tend to see is that profile has not been completed, right? So you're able to go in, and beyond just setting your budget and setting the job types that you want, you're able to go in and add a bio of your business and apply some categories that apply to you: veteran owned, family owned, been in business since, for 30 years, Google will automatically populate those options for you. And I want to encourage you to make sure that you have completed your profile to the fullest extent. So yeah, most of this I've already covered, but you want to make sure that bio is complete and that your profile is complete, job types. But here is, I guess, where I want to really drill in. And for my clients that are on the call here, I say this like a broken record, but this is really the channel where you want to open up the budget and let it run with local service ads. And that's a snapshot of August 2024. Like, that could change, but for now, this is really an amazing channel when it comes to um, relatively low cost leads. So we see typically much lower cost than pay per click, for example, and very high quality, right? So these tend to skew very, very high on the quality scale compared to other lead generation channels. And so what I find becomes the bottleneck for most really quickly growing HVAC companies is that they are setting a high budget, maybe $10,000-$20,000 per week even. And even though they're doing that, Google's not able to spend the entire budget. So that at some point will become a problem for every company. Like, if you set the budget for $500 million a week, right? Like, you'll reach a point where you can't spend it. And it's my belief that that's where you want to be with your local service ads. You do not want budget to be the constraint. Now, if you're in a situation where you're understaffed, or like, okay, I understand that. But when it comes to uh, adding lead flow, this is the channel to really open up the valve and let this go as fast as it can, and do not let budget be a constraint there. So just a quick pro tip. So Google local service ads, boy, it is changing like all the time. Even literally this morning, I had to update some of these slides due to some changes that I'll show you in a moment. But one thing that they rolled out several months ago is the ability to change how you want to bid. So previous, it was just completely up to Google how much you wanted to bid, and that was that. Like, we had no control over it. But they did roll out the ability to manually set your maximum bid, like how much are you willing to pay for a new lead. And so I would encourage you to play around with this. Like, to be quite honest, in different service areas with different clients, we see that manually setting the max bid will work better and for one company, and then doing the automatic bid setting will work better for a different company. So this is something you really have to experiment with. But one pro tip I will give you when it comes to manually setting your max bid, you'll see here an example where the maximum lead cost has been set to 80. This is not actually, we've tested this a little bit lately, and instead of doing even numbers like this, we will set, instead of 80, we'll do $81, or instead of 100, we would do $101. The idea being that most of your competitors are going to be setting maximum bids at just a round number, because that's just the way our brains think, right? So if we can be just $1 higher in terms of our willingness to spend, that's something that Google sees with a computer brain, right? It's like, well, they're willing to spend more than the other guy, and it's only $1. Like, it's kind of a silly idea, but we have seen some luck with that. So I would encourage you to give that a try if you're struggling with lead flow. Okay, so beyond that, this is another area where I see companies dropping the ball on from time to time, and that is actually going in and working the local service ads dashboard. So this applies to you specifically if you're not getting the kind of lead flow that you want from the program. Google's dashboard for local service ads gives you a lot of opportunity to input information, right? So you can tell Google that a job has been booked. You can give Google the name and email address and phone number of that lead. And what I see to be true is that the more information that we give Google in terms of these local service ads leads, the more inclined they are to provide more leads and increase the performance of the campaign, right? So, uh, so, so make sure that you have someone that's assigned to this dashboard and is going in and marking jobs as booked. Let's see here. Yeah, I kind of tend to get ahead of myself on these slides, but yeah, marking them as booked is really an important piece. And here's really the main takeaway is that Google has no idea what happens to the lead unless we tell them. So if you have a staff member that is going in and seeing, hey, we received a lead yesterday afternoon, and they go in and listen to the call recording, and it says, and it's like, hey, it turns out that was someone that wanted a second opinion on an install, and we actually did book that and are going to go out and give them an estimate. Mark that lead as booked and add the customer's detail in there, and then when that lead ultimately decides to go for the install with you and you provide the service, you're actually able to request a review directly through the local service ads dashboard. And the reason that that's important, again, to zoom out to 10,000 feet, is it's the story that we're telling Google. So Google knows that they sent you a lead. They know that you answered the call. They know that you booked the job, so it's a good fit for the lead, for Google's customer, right? And then they know that that customer left your business a 5-star review on Google. So what does that tell Google? Well, it tells them, hey, these guys tend to solve the needs of people that search for HVAC repair or furnace replacement, and therefore we'll send you more leads. So that's a bit about working the system and how to take that to the next level. So number 3, dealing with disputes. So this is actually the piece that I needed to update today. So Google is in the process of rolling out a new feature where they're actually doing away with the dispute function, which is good and bad. Like we're not exactly sure yet. It could go either way, but so we can actually skip through this because it used to be where you could dispute leads that you viewed bad, but now Google does all of that automatically. And what they have changed to is they give the ability to rate a lead. So you'll notice now in your local service ads dashboard, or eventually you'll notice it when they roll it out to you, that you have this new button that says rate this lead. And what happens when you click that is it just gives you basically a 1 to 5 style feedback box where you can provide feedback, and we're trying to figure out if that's actually influencing the leads that they send or not. It's hard to tell yet. Google's very smart, so I would tend to think that yes, it does. So again, the more we can play ball with Google and drive, give them information, the better that they're going to be able to help us. So for drive verified reviews, I touched on this before. It's very important if you really want to take your local service ads to the next level. Let's see here. Yeah, so yeah, pretty straightforward stuff, but it's something that I find, I don't know, 90% of HVAC companies are not doing. So this is, again, in the spirit of shoulder season and battening down the hatch and shoring up the gaps in the marketing strategy. This is how we take these channels to the next level. It's by doing the things that your competitors are not willing to do. That's how you dominate your service area, and doing it in all aspects of your marketing. So lastly, as it relates to local service ads, is we want to target an 85% booking rate, and this is a metric that Google does track. Right? They put it right there on the dashboard. So it's obviously something that they care about. And because these leads, again, skew to very high quality, I want to encourage you to target this 85% booking rate. Because again, Google, they're a for-profit entity, right? And they have customers of their own. They want to have confidence that if they send someone to your business, that you will take care of their problem, because that's why people go to Google, to answer questions and take care of problems. So if you're booking 85+% of the leads that come into your local service ads dashboard, what does that tell Google? Well, it tells Google you do a really good job of solving problems, right, and taking care of people. So This is really a stretch, right? Like I see very few companies that are at 85% booking rate, but I know it's possible. I've seen it, and it gives you a good KPI for you and your team to drive forward to. And if you're not hitting this, then it allows you to ask questions around why. Is it because of lead quality? Is it because of phone answering rate? Is it because of salesmanship with your CSRs and sales team? Like it can reveal other, holes in your marketing and selling strategy that need to be plugged. And the better job that you can do of those, the more effective you'll be in the shoulder season. And I assure you, if you can market in the shoulder season, by God, you can market any time of the year, right? Like this is where I view shoulder season as a real opportunity to really just better you for the rest of the year. Alrighty, so let's barrel on here. Great. So let's go ahead and move on. Again, I've done an entire session on local service ads, and I'd be happy to meet with any of you one-on-one to discuss further, but we have so much more to cover. I want to just continue barreling on. So online reputation. Let's dive into this. So just a few stats for you off the bat. And these just blew my mind. 84% of people trust an online review as much as they do a personal recommendation. Whoa, think about that for a second. I actually anecdotally experienced this just the other day. There's a local Mexican restaurant that opened about a year ago, and my wife and I, we've gotten to know the owners. They always treat us really well. And so we're like big advocates for this business, right? This local Mexican restaurant. Well, I went to their Google reviews because I was going to leave them a review, right? Like I'm a marketer, I try and help people out, and they earned it, so I'm going to leave them a review. And I saw that I was shocked by they they didn't have a bad score, but it was like a 4.0 somewhere around that. And I saw some of the most recent reviews were negative, and I thought, man, I trusted the reviews more than I trusted my own assessment of the business. So it just shows how absolutely crucial these reviews are. And then it's not only about the total number of reviews you have. You'll see here 77% of consumers think that reviews more than 3 months old aren't relevant. So if you're not getting reviews on a constant basis, it really, to an extent, doesn't matter how many reviews you have. So just some more stats. Let's keep barreling through. So everyone knows that Google reviews play a factor as to where you rank on Google, right? Like what I always say is in order to rank on Google, we have to tell Google what you do, where you do it, and why they should trust you. And this is the biggest element of why they should trust you is the Google reviews. What's often overlooked is how important they are from a conversion standpoint. So again, going back to that Mexican restaurant that I just referenced, I will go back because I've experienced the food and service, and I think it's a great business. But other people will look at that and they'll see a Mexican restaurant in a competitive area with multiple food options that doesn't rank very well, or sorry, doesn't have a very high review average in Google. And so Lord knows how many hundreds, if not thousands of people in a month are deciding not to go there because of that. So I think that's the piece that people tend to miss out on is the conversion factor, because one of the stats before just showed how many people are looking at Google reviews. So let's dive into the 5 key principles to help you really go from good to great when it comes to online reviews and reputation. So the first one is this one's on you guys, right? So the first thing that you got to do is you have to provide a world-class customer experience. This is your training, this is your culture, this is your incentive structure. This is how you run your business and take care of your customers. So that's the absolute first and foremost, most important piece of this, right? You have to do that in order to earn the reviews. So let's assume that that's in place. And by the way, that's something that's a never-ending journey, right? Like I've interviewed some amazingly successful HVAC owners that just go into a rabbit hole on culture and training and improving this. So there's always room for improvement there. But let's assume that that's in place. Number two, I think it's important to build online reviews and reputation into your company culture. So let me give you a couple of examples as to how you can do this, right? So one of the basics would be kind of a monthly incentive for techs with the most reviews. So really putting your money where your mouth is and saying, these reviews are important to us, and so we're willing to spiff you, the tech, uh, or the CSR, even like anyone on the team can get them uh, for the reviews that you're able to secure for us, right? It's one of the best marketing tools that you can employ. So that's an idea. Also, role playing. I mean, this sounds silly to a lot, I know, but there's a real way that you can go about asking for a review that's going to dramatically increase the quantity of reviews you get, right? So one of my favorite ideas is building reciprocity with a homeowner. And what do I mean by that? Well, first and foremost, you start with the world class experience, right? You know, your tech greets, knocks on the door, steps to the left, shakes a hand, greets, like all those standard like best practices, and just like does a really great job, pets the dog, super friendly. Uh, and then at the end of the job, right? Like one great way to get reviews is to simply ask something to the effect of, hey, if you feel I deserve it, I would really appreciate it if you leave me a Google review. In fact, we the techs are actually assessed by our manager based on the review. So if you think I deserve it, if you mention me by name in your review, it would just mean the world to me. All right? Do you see how that creates reciprocity? And people go, man, you know, Jordan really did a great job, and I don't want him to look bad to his bosses. Yeah, let me leave the review. And you pair that with some automation, which we'll dive into in a second, uh, to make it really easy for them to leave the review, and that's a really magical combo. Here's a great idea that I got from one of our clients, which is Tip Your Tech, and it's a program that they do where for homeowners, it's basically presented to where um, if like you ask the homeowner, hey, you can actually leave me a tip by leaving me a review. If you leave a review and mention me by name, my company will tip me on your behalf to the tune of $50 or whatever that amount is. Uh, Again, it's another great way to create some reciprocity. Like, the homeowner's like, oh man, like Jordan's gonna miss out on a tip. I don't have to give him any money. I just got to leave a silly review. Yeah, okay, yeah, I'll do that. Right. So making it a part of the culture and really having a strategy for asking for these reviews in the field. And then, I'm a big believer in what you measure improves, right? So, or I should say here, measure, inspect, and celebrate, right? So what does this mean? Well, obviously measuring the reviews, like how many are you getting, who's getting the most reviews, um, and I believe just the pure act of measuring a KPI in this case will cause it to go up, right? Like an example outside of work here would be if you're on a mission to release weight, right, and you're working out and you're dieting. The first thing to do is to weigh yourself and track that number every day, and just by seeing it and tracking it every day, uh, you begin to just autonomously make different decisions and start to find yourself closer to the goal. Same is true with finances. Checking your bank account first thing in the morning, measuring that, I find is a really great way to, trend yourself towards the goals you have, measuring it. So make sure that you're measuring it at a good level, and then celebrate it as well, right? So the truth is your technicians and your team, they want to be recognized in front of their peers. So that's what's really beautiful about some of these ideas is you embed this idea of generating reviews into the culture, and then people are getting spiffed from it. They're getting celebrated at the team huddle in the morning. Like it can become a really fun thing. And I've seen many examples with clients where it becomes like this awesome, exciting deal. Like I have a client that, it made sense for them. Like they pick like one several $100 prize every month. And that's like throughout the month, that's what they're competing for, right? So like they want to get the TV or the couch or whatever the item is. And it's like it becomes this really exciting, healthy competition kind of thing. So what you measure, inspect, and celebrate, you create more of. And then you do want to leverage the, technology to make this really easy, right? So having text messages automatically sent to customers once the job is complete. Uh, Technology like that just makes it a lot easier for people to leave reviews. And quite simply, I would ask yourself, like, when's the last time that you left a business a review on Google? I would say it's maybe you're the exception, but for most people, it's either never or maybe one time because they were specifically asked for it. That's tend to be what I hear the most. And I think a lot of that has to do with what we've talked about before. Like, how do you ask for it? How do you um, build reciprocity and all of that? But also, we got to not have the tech be a hindrance to getting the review, right? So making that super easy for your customers. And I would encourage you occasionally to test this, right? So if you have maybe a family member that's a customer of yours or a friend, just test that process and make sure that, hey, the text message is in fact going out after the job is complete, and hey, the link that they click on isn't broken, it actually works, and it leads to the right page and to your right location page, right? If you have multiple Google business profiles, that's something that you need to consider. So I would say get the tech in place. There's so many options out there for companies that do this. I mean, it's just like the sky's the limit. Just they're all good for them. Okay, almost all of them are good. Pick one or use the one that you have and make it happen. That's what I would encourage you to do. And then lastly, just make sure that you're acknowledging and responding to every review, right? So one little anecdote that I like to share with folks is, when we all get those 1-star reviews, they come in, right? It's unavoidable. It's just part of this business. I think if you service 1,000 customers and 1 or 2% of them are just gonna leave a crazy review, like that seems like a pretty reasonable percent. But that still means that dozens of people potentially are going to be leaving you a negative review. But here's how I want you to respond to those. So number one, do respond to them, right? Like make sure that you're responding to every review. But I'll tell you how I look for new businesses because I think it's how most people do. I go to Google and it's like this Mexican restaurant I was telling you about, right? I go to Google, I find the business, I find the reviews, and the first thing I do is sort by lowest first, right? So people are going to see the lowest reviews. And then the very next thing they're going to see is your response. So I would encourage you as you respond to these, let's say, Sam Jones leaves you some nasty review and he was never even a customer. And it's so frustrating. And I've totally been there. I can assure you. When you reply to that review, you're not replying to Sam Jones. You're replying to the literally hundreds of other people that are going to be looking for your service, that are going to click on your reviews, and that are going to sort by lowest first. Those are the people that you're writing them to. And that makes it a lot easier to write, just a really professional, kind, like make it right sort of message. And again, it has nothing to do with the person that actually left it, and everything to do with the other people that are going to eventually see it. Hopefully that makes sense. And again, to tie back to shoulder season, this is just another aspect of really tightening up your marketing strategy. And reviews is a long-term game, right? You cannot get 1,000 reviews overnight. And if you do, you'll get suspended by Google. I can almost promise you. It takes a while, right? Adding this to your team's rhythm and culture takes some time. Now's the time to start it, right? Now's the time to start it. If you start it now, you'll see a much better result through the shoulder season, which will generate more business for you, which will generate more repeat business and referral business. And then it will only accelerate your results as we drop into low temperatures for those of you that are anticipating that season, or as we get back into the cooling season next year, right? So now's the time, right? So I'll get off my soapbox there, but I get really, well, I get passionate about all this stuff, as those that you that know me well know. So let's move on. So this is the one that I teased at the beginning. So existing customers, how do we tap into our existing customers and actually get them back and get them back into our orbit and back onto our schedule ideally? So one question that I always ask is, who is your best next customer, right? As you think about your service area, like who's the most likely to do business with you next? Excuse me. Well, it's really easy, an easy answer. It's your existing customers, right? They've already proven that they're willing to pay you. They've already proven that they trust you. They're the people that we want to retain long term, right? So your average homeowner is going to have they're going to purchase two HVAC systems in the course of their life as a homeowner. And at the end of the day, this is how me as an HVAC marketer, this is how I think about this. Let's say you have a list of 3,000 customers, 5,000 customers. You at one point or another have paid to acquire that customer. Maybe you had a technician sitting in a BNI group and got it as a referral, and paid with your time, right? Maybe you paid through pay-per-click or local service ads, and there was like a hard cost associated. Or maybe you have a marketing agency like HVAC Marketers improving your search engine optimization, and you're getting, you're paying for the lead in that regard. But regardless, you're paying to acquire every single one of those 5,000, 3,000 customers in your list. So, but the good news is you only have to incur that cost once. After that, you need to have a strategy to continue to pull value out of your existing customers, protect them from competitors in your service area, and get them to book back onto your schedule. So I'm gonna tell you, this is our number one, no doubt, best strategy to do that, and that's text message marketing. So text message marketing is literally the break in case of emergency, we need more leads strategy for all HVAC businesses in my experience. And really it's beautiful because it can happen really fast. Like I'll show you some results that we've seen here. And actually let me jump in first, and I'll kind of show you the process. So here's what it looks like. So the first thing that you want to do is pick an effective and seasonal offer. And then you need to take that offer and turn it into text message language. And the reason I have that in quotations is because text message is a very unique channel. It's not email. It's not physical mail. It's not a phone call. Like it's a very unique channel, and I'll kind of explain more on that in a moment. And then you want to send that text message with the offer to your customer list. And there's some pro tips in here. We'll kind of breeze over that. And then basically once your customers reply, then it's your job, or your CSR's job, or your office manager's job to get them booked into the schedule. And what I will tell you is we typically see 3 to 5% of a company's customer list during the off season will book into the schedule, right? So that doesn't mean that they're a lead. That means that they are, Wednesday from 9 to 12 is their window on the schedule. So it's super effective. And I'm even gonna reveal to you one of our best performing text messages to let you know exactly what this looks like. So here's the message. Hey Joe, it's Alex from Acme Air. We have a few remaining coupons for winter tune-ups. Would you be interested? Pretty simple, right? Very personable. It feels like it feels like I'm actually texting Joe. Like this is something I would actually send him in a text message. It's not some robotic, automated, spammy kind of message. It's very personal. And then if they'll either reply, or if they don't reply, we send a follow-up 1 day later. Hey Joe, just checking back to see if you'd be interested in a coupon for a winter tune-up. So very simple. And this has generated literally hundreds of thousands of dollars for our clients, if not more. Mimi, why don't I send you this? If you can share, let's see. I want you guys to be able to look at this. This is just a. Let's go here. Okay, actually, I can add it in there. So that right there dropped in the chat is a link to a calculator that we use to kind of give you an idea this shoulder season, like how much are we talking? Like how much could this text message marketing actually make you, right? So there's a couple of fields. There are 3 yellow fields that you will fill in. So just to give you like that quick example. So let's say your list size is 5,000 and your average ticket is, let's say your average ticket is $1,000, but let's skew that down. We'll cut it in half and we'll say $500, right? We find, so I put in here 4.7%. That's on average what we see. 4.7% of people that receive a text message book onto your schedule. So that's the number that we're providing. That means you're going to get 235 people that literally raise their hand and say, hey, John, hey, Sam, hey, Sally, I want you to come service my unit. I want to get on your maintenance plan. I want an estimate. Like people that are eagerly wanting your services, 235 of them that you've just pulled out of your list from there. And then from there, how many of those are you going to close, right? So ideally you would close 100% because these are people that are saying, yes, I want that, right? But we'll be conservative again and say, maybe you book half of them, right? So that's nearly $59,000 in top line revenue that you can generate quite conservatively from this text message marketing campaign. So I put the link there in the chat, and I encourage you to use that, play around with it, and just kind of get an idea for what that could do for your business, right? Wouldn't it be nice to be able to deploy that at a moment's notice in the off season, and when you're slow, say, hey, now's the time to send out that text message blast and fill the schedule. Like we have so many clients that do that and find this very effective. So I would encourage you to do that. And just to break down a little bit more of the how, right? So one thing to note is that there is a component of regulatory compliance when it comes to sending these text messages. So there are some protocols that you need to comply with. It's called A2P DLC 10. In English, basically the phone carriers want to know who's actually sending these text messages. What are you actually planning on sending? So there's many different softwares that you can use that will help you through this process. Or like our clients, we do all this for them, right? We bring the software to the table. We get them approved to do this without them having to lift a finger. But that is something to be mindful of. But just to show you that it works, right? Here's some examples of the numbers that have been generated from these campaigns, right? 207,000, right? That was a company in Georgia. 52,000 in a separate campaign, right? And these are just campaigns that can be launched at any moment. So really a powerful tool and something great for the off season. Okay, we're coming up on an hour. My voice is going thin. So I want to release you all here soon, but first I just want to recap kind of what we've covered. So number one, improve your marketing hub, which is your website, for higher conversion across all of your marketing efforts, right? 2, taking the next step forward with Google Local Service ads. 3, leveraging your customer list by sending out text messages with timely offers we just discussed. And lastly, building a world-class reputation through company culture and use of automation to make that request very easy of your customers. So today we really focused on the 80-20 of what you can immediately implement, right? You can go back right now to your desk, implement these, and I guarantee you will be better positioned for this shoulder season. But if you want to take it a step further, right, and go beyond that, I want to offer you a free marketing strategy session with yours truly, with me here. It'd be a one-on-one session with you and me, and we go beyond the checklist and beyond what I've talked about today and look really specifically at your business, your service area, what exactly you're trying to achieve this off season and the years to come, and build a strategy specifically for you to make that a reality. So if that's something that makes sense to you, it's no cost. Mimi, if you would drop that. Oh, you already beat me to it. Yeah, so Mimi's dropped the link. It's the schedule link there. I encourage you, take advantage of that. Let's make it happen. No excuses this shoulder season. There's so much opportunity out there that it's time to grab that. And guys, if there's any way that I can be helpful to you, I want to provide you my contact information. This is my number here. This is my email. Shoot me an email. What did you think of the session today? What did you implement? What was a light bulb moment for you? Share it with me. I want to know. And I'm really excited for what you all are going to achieve this off season. There's a lot of trepidation and challenges in front of us, but that is where the most opportunity lies. So those that seize it will be rewarded for it. And I want everyone that's listening to this session to be a part of that. So let me know how I can help. Don't hesitate to reach out, and otherwise have an excellent day. And I look forward to seeing you on the next session. Take care, everybody.